this was a movie we watched all the time. It's such an underrated, awesome football movie.
Yes.
And it's unique in that it's college football. So it's like, it really does an awesome job of capturing that college football life at kind of that higher program level. And a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you don't really know about these teams that's going on, like the inner dynamics between all these players and people, doing steroids because they're not good enough to make the team, but like they need that. And once they take that stuff, then they can make it. It's like, it's such a great movie. There's so many awesome.
Welcome back to the Movie Dads podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Howie.
I'm Kyle.
That
voice cracked right there.
Is Kyle. That's Kyle.
Kyle. Damn it.
You turned 13 today. Congratulations. Happy birthday. 13.
It's my birthday.
Cracking your voice.
28.
Oh, did you start going backwards already? Good for you. Good for you, buddy. That's good. Usually people don't
doing it.
Usually people don't do that till they turn 40. So, welcome to the backwards club. Yeah,
I am close to 40. I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're not even close to 40. Get off. Whatever.
This is true. I would never be that old.
You'll be 25 again before you get to 40.
That's right. Goddamn right.
Yeah. What did my daughter say to me earlier tonight? She said something about like you have more gray hairs on your head than there are people on this planet or something. Thanks.
I mean,
kids are charming.
Does she know you don't have very much hair on your head at all?
Well, I don't know. It's growing
like
back.
9 billion people on. Okay.
Anyway, it's
where her head was at though.
That's right. Yeah, it's good. We were insulting each other at dinner. Healthy family dynamic. Episode number 22.
Holy moly.
Holy moly. We haven't done one of these in a while. You need to see this movie. The 1993 football classic, The Program.
The Program.
One of those movies that not a lot of people probably have seen, unless they grew up around the time that we did. And when it was come out, because it's not one of those movies that's like ever on TV. It's amazingly on Prime Video to watch. I thought I was going to dust off the old DVD, but we were able to stream it on Prime. But I'd say I would say very underrated piece of cinema. But
especially as a football movie.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about that movie today in our You Need to See This Movie segment. We figured it was a good time of year to do that. It's football season. Lots of talk around college football right now. There's a hot ticket out there in the Colorado Buffaloes that everybody's talking about.
Everybody except Husker fans. They still haven't bought in yet, but they'll come around.
We don't like Colorado. It's what it is.
I get that.
Well,
but also, like, let's not pretend that they are like not a real thing going on right now.
I don't think anybody's pretending that whatsoever. Anyway, episode 22, The Program. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave us a comment. We would appreciate it. If you are not watching us on YouTube, hopefully you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, or Podcast Index, and you can see some of our short videos and clips on social media at Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're Movie Dads. We've got movie kids. So I'm excited for this weekend because for the first time, my wife and I are taking both of our kids to the Chiefs game in Kansas City on Sunday. I have taken Reagan before to a game or two, and I've taken Des to a game. We went to a game with our boys last year, but this is the first time the four of us are going as a family of four. Should be a pretty cool experience. My wife and Reagan's now at the age too where she can do pregame on the field stuff. So my wife and daughter are going to take the flag out at before the game during the national anthem. They're going to carry the flag out on the field. So that'll be pretty cool.
Never realized how much fucking like pregame bullshit you season ticket holders get to do. Like,
well,
every time we've gone, you're like, you disappear for the hour or two before because you're like putzing around on the sideline before the game.
Well, you earn points. Like you earn points by like buying stuff at the pro shop, buying stuff at the concession stand. Every time you go to a game, you earn points. There's like on the website or the app, there's like trivia questions. You can earn points that way. I bank all these points, right? Like, because like there's points on there all the time. Like you can, auctions, and you can, you win an autographed jersey, win an autographed helmet. Like, yeah, but everybody does that. So I don't put those in very often. I'd rather do the experiences. I think that's cool. I
you can cash in for these things.
Yeah, so I build up the points and then I cash them in when I got a bunch. So like I took the flag out during the AFC Championship game last year, which was freaking amazing. And so I thought it'd be a cool experience because my daughter's old enough now to do that. So I thought that'd be kind of neat. But it looks like the weather's going to be great, like upper 70s. Might rain a little bit in the morning before the game starts, but that's fine as long as we're not getting wet in the seat. And then, do a little tailgate. They'll do that. Me and Des will grill some burgers and hot dogs or something doing the tailgate and have a good time at the game and then drive home.
Nice. Well, if you're skipping and
we're skipping flag.
We're
skipping
have a great
football.
Sunday. We've got a great Sunday. We're gonna wake up. We're gonna turn the music on loud, put our flag out, and then we're gonna skip flag football. We're gonna stay home and we're gonna do a pregame thing with hamburgers and hot dogs, and we're just gonna watch the Jags from my basement.
There you go.
Not gonna do that because my wife would murder me. But love that for you. I was just talking with Steph yesterday, actually, because we are like planning on going to a game this year. We just haven't decided when, because we, of course, every time we pick a time, something comes up, or someone's wedding comes up, or some event or something. So
you're still young enough where you're going to weddings and stuff,
bro.
I'm past it.
No, I have been way past that.
Oh, okay.
But my barber actually is getting married, Mr. Andre Aiden, who just gave me a fresh birthday cut today.
There
you go. Fly. If you're in the Omaha area, he's the man. But he's getting married, and I have been with him as my barber for like 4 locations in 6 years. So I'm like, we're going to a wedding, and my wife yelled at me strictly because she's like, you literally don't go to weddings. You're a curmudgeon about them. You don't go to our friends' weddings, and now we're going to your barber's wedding. I'm like, yeah, fuck off. We are. It's going to be like I'm going to be the only white person there. They're all going to be Mexican, and I am excited for that. So
I bet that's going to be a fun fucking wedding,
bro. It's going to be fucking awesome. I'm going to be I'll be the güero in the middle of the dance floor, the white boy, just getting love and life. So, I'm going to. I haven't told her yet, but I'm going to bribe her into wanting to go because at Mexican weddings, I was told today, the centerpieces is like they go all out for these centerpieces for people to take home, which I think is pretty common for a lot of weddings. But like I was told today that like this is a big thing for a Mexican wedding. So I'm basically bribing my wife with a plant, and she is a plant person. So
no, there you go.
Yeah, kid stuff, just pretty typical week. My wife teaches dance. So yesterday I was solo dolo with the kids. I had 3 boys plus yours to take to football. That was an interesting time. My son had a headache. And so he decided to sit on the sideline for practice, to which I had the convo of, are you hurt or are you injured? And like, if you're hurt, you can play. If you're injured, you obviously don't play because you're injured.
Yep.
He didn't understand what that meant. He didn't care. He went and tried to practice a little bit longer, and then I turned back around and boom, he was back sitting on the sideline. But the second practice ended, him and his little crony, of whom is your son, they decided to go to the playground and start playing and running around on the playground like he was totally fine. So I basically had an above normal volume conversation with my son in front of essentially the whole team and their family about, like, you just sat out of practice, Mr. Headache, and now you're on the playground. Get your fucking ass in the car. So anyways, it was great. It was a good time.
So the reason I'm laughing is because I haven't told you this yet. So yeah, you're going to learn this on camera. So Des comes home from practice yesterday and he's like, I'm like, how was practice? And he goes, Grayson had a headache. He didn't want to practice, but for some reason, after practice was over, he was fine. And we wanted to go to the playground. And I'm like,
yeah, he literally just,
I'm like, okay. So then Des goes
verbatim what I had said.
He goes, Kyle was talking S-word about Grayson. I said, oh, he was talking shit. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
Yes. Yes. So your son literally just echoed exactly what I had said to him.
It's pretty funny to watch a 7-year-old say he was talking shit.
Yeah. Well, Grayson, I mean, it was very like, bro, you cannot do that. You can't, like, if you're sick or you got a headache, I guess you can sit out, but like, you don't all of a sudden go and like then play on the playground in front of your coaches. Like, anyways, it's whatever. I am.
To be fair, it's not like our kids are getting touches during the games anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Our
get that.
I was a when I first started playing football, I was the little brother of 3, and I was like a left guard my first year in tackle football, and I fucking hated it. I didn't end up loving football until I got into high school. Well, I loved it. I just didn't like playing it. But it wasn't until I got into high school and then obviously went off to college and played and then coached. So anyways, they'll be fine. But it's also one of those things of like, maybe we just don't do this. So, but yeah, let's jump into the segment that gets me up in the morning. It's the thing I'm most excited about. Our 6 to midnight. This segment is the things that are coming up that we're excited about, new movie trailers, potentially new stories, video games, nerd stuff that we're diving into right now. And for me, I mean, I'll kick this off. It actually was something you sent me yesterday, maybe the day before. We're getting into spooky season, and spooky. I got so many like people that messaged me about that clip. They thought that was so funny. Excuse me, do you have a spook? There is a new spooky movie that comes out tomorrow. I had never heard of it. You sent me the trailer, and as I was watching, was like, holy shit, this looks terrifying. Oh my God, it comes out like the day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's called No One Will Save You. It'll be streaming on Hulu on September 22nd. So I'm actually hoping it'll drop at midnight tonight. I might actually watch it tonight.
Oh, nice.
But it essentially, I mean, I can't really give spoilers away other than what was in the trailer, but it looks
basically, spoiler if it's in the trailer.
Yeah. But it is very much revolves around like alien abduction kind of vibes, like, or I guess more of like an alien invasion.
Yeah, like it's like a home invasion movie.
Yes.
But they're not humans.
Yes, actually, that's a good point. It kicked off really, the trailer made me think that it was like The Strangers. And we've talked about that on earlier episodes, that to me, that's one of my like most like scary movies ever. It's like a fucking terrifying movie to me. So I fucking loved that. Like, oh shit, we're getting The Strangers. There's nothing scarier than a scary movie that is based in reality, in terms of like someone could come and knock on my door or bang on my window at 3 a.m. and I would shit my pants. Like, that was kind of the vibe it opened up with. Obviously, aliens aren't based in reality. As of until a couple of weeks ago, the government confirmed that they are real.
You're talking about a paper mache Mexican alien, or?
No, not that story. That came out because of all of the U.S. government hearings that just happened a couple weeks ago.
Just kidding.
That's a whole nother episode, folks. I will jump into that.
Welcome to Kyle's Conspiracy Corner.
Yes, where we talk about aliens. But it was like, I texted you, or maybe when I saw you in person, we talked about it, but it looked like it got a vibe of like The Strangers combined with the movie The Fourth Kind.
With Signs sprinkled in there.
Yes, and Signs. Okay, yeah, Signs, The Fourth Kind, Strangers. Yes, like that. I think that's what we originally talked about. It's like Signs and Strangers. And then I had said, like, did you ever see the movie The Fourth Kind? It kind of gave me those vibes. And The Fourth Kind is like a super underrated, scary movie, alien movie.
Yeah.
It's it's like a mockumentary, documentary rehashing of this creepy like UFO town in Alaska. But man, the trailer looks good. I know I just talked about 3 other movies and not the actual movie itself.
Yeah, right.
But
Because we don't know anything about it.
Yes,
it's not out.
But as I saw the trailer, I got vibes of all of those movies, and I love all 3 of those movies: Signs, Fourth Kind, The Strangers.
Yeah.
And also just the name of the movie kind of gave me like, oh, that's No One Will Save You.
No one will save you.
So like Girl at Home, Home Invasion. She's trying to get away from whatever's trying to take her, and as she like escapes and is finding out the rest of the town, it seems like everyone's gone.
Yeah.
And that it's essentially like an alien invasion. And but we didn't really see them at all in the trailer, so like kind of so which I think when it comes to alien movies or spooky ghost movies, the less you see that, the better. So
100%.
So
I think that was one of the best things like about Signs is the buildup, right? There's so much buildup, and then you know like you see the leg in the cornfield, right? You see the silhouette on the roof, right? You see the grainy ass like South American birthday video.
Oh, bro,
and like that gets you.
Best
and then
jump scare ever.
Right. And then you see the hand under the door that grabs for him, right? You get
so
all that,
good,
and then the end. Right? Like it goes, you don't see a whole alien like cleanly until the very end of the movie.
Yeah, till he's swinging away.
Yeah.
That movie.
And that's how it's done. You do it right.
I don't remember seeing any trailers building up to that movie when I went and saw it. I was maybe in junior high, maybe younger. Like Joaquin Phoenix is in the closet watching that scene, like fully invested. I literally was that exact same thing in theaters, like fully like it was like the whole world disappeared and I was actually in this movie. And when that fucking alien crossed that little walkway and just did like that Bigfoot clip video where he just turns and looks real quick, I audibly gasped, just like Joaquin in the movie. Like it was so good. What a movie scene.
The movie's good. I like that movie too.
It's fucking good. That's something maybe we talk about in season 14, episode 26. Anyways,
226. Signs.
Yeah, let's fucking go. No One Will Save You. Hulu streaming tomorrow. Go watch it. Spooky.
Or
watchers.
When this comes out, it should already be out. So go watch. Hopefully
it is out
it's
right
worth
now.
the watch.
Go watch it.
Hopefully it's worth
I
the
just
watch.
gave you your Friday or Saturday night watch. So
bingo.
What you got? Give me what's got you up.
Obviously, strike continues. So not a whole lot of new content. But there was an article in Variety that I wanted to talk about because over the past weekend, Oppenheimer crossed the $900 million mark at the box office. So Variety put a piece out, and I thought this was really interesting because it talked, and it was Denis Villeneuve, who did Dune and did Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival, right? So obviously he knows a lot about making art as a film. And Christopher Nolan, as I would say as well, can make art in a film piece. And so the article was Denis Villeneuve was basically saying like, you know, Oppenheimer's a masterpiece. This is an art form. It's not just content. I'm amazed this movie made $900 million. And he kind of gushes over Christopher Nolan and like, listen, he took all this effort to make 70 millimeter film IMAX on this movie. And he goes, and this movie is basically 3 hours of people talking about physics. And you know, because that's a lot of what this movie breaks down to. It's not this huge effects driven piece, right? It is about the acting and the writing and the story. And he talks about like, you know, Christopher Nolan told people like, these are the 19 or 20 theaters in the country that you need to go to see this movie. And people were literally driving, you know, hours and hours to go see this movie in the large format IMAXs. And so the article just kind of talks about like, this isn't content. This is art. Film is art. Doesn't matter what kind of movie it is, right? But it's amazing to see a 3-hour long biopic, which is now the highest grossing biopic of all time, passing Bohemian Rhapsody. And people are going to see it. Whereas we've got a lot of other films. You know, you've got your typical superhero movies, right? We like superhero movies. We like action adventure movies. Barbie's obviously the highest grossing movie of the year. It did something that is very impressive as well. And it came out the same day as Oppenheimer, which is even more amazing that both those movies came out the exact same day. And they've both, one's made over $1 billion and one's almost there, right? Which is crazy. But the article talks about, and Paul Thomas Anderson's quoted in it too. And if you like Paul Thomas Anderson movies, like I think his movies are art as well. We're talking Boogie Nights and we're talking Magnolia and, you know, Punch Drunk Love, those kind of movies. Like he's a really good filmmaker too. It's basically like people are getting off the couch. You don't just have to stream movies. Like we get it. That's a big piece of what's coming. You know, these movies aren't out as long as they were before. They're coming out quick. Like, you know, Barbie's already out to stream. Ninja Turtles is already out on Paramount Plus. You don't even have to pay for it now. You know, I mean, if you have a Paramount Plus subscription, I'm just saying you don't have to. I mean, the movie came out a month and a half ago and it's already on Paramount Plus streaming.
It's crazy when you think about it though, right? Like,
yes,
like in the past, it was like, oh, you saw a movie in theaters and it felt like it wasn't like for a year until you'd finally see it again.
I remember, I could tell you for a fact, I remember exactly when all of the Lord of the Rings movies came out in theaters. They came out at Christmas, right? They came out on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it was in August.
Wild.
Every year.
That's wild.
It's 8 months. And now we're seeing movies at home in like 45 days, you know, which is crazy, right? Because it's changing the landscape of a lot of things. I don't think box office numbers are going to mean as much anymore because streaming numbers are going to make up a lot of that. I mean, you look at like during the pandemic, what did HBO Max do? Right? There was Wonder Woman 1984 was a home premiere, right? You could see it in the theater, you could see it at home, right? I think Kong Godzilla was too.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of movies that they did that with. And anyway, that's just it's an interesting article because it talks about like people are still going out to see these movies if they want to see them and like they understand the time, you know, that it takes to make these works of art, you know. We could get into a forever long discussion about what film's art and what film's content, right? But I think it doesn't matter, right? I always say this, and this is kind of like one of the things I always tell people. Any movie's worth seeing once because somebody took the time and the energy and the heart to put together that movie, right? Whether it was the writer or the director or the actors.
Unless it's a fan film.
No. Like, but I mean, like it's you know, even if it turns out to be a piece of shit, like that's somebody did that. That's their thing, you know.
I know the Flash came out.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. I actually liked that movie more than you, so I don't know why I can't.
Right.
You set it up for it. It's on T.
Listen, I was on. I gotta tell this real quick. So like Funko's got this huge sale going on right now. It's like an anniversary sale or something. Like they got a ton of crap on their website, like 70% off. Like they got Funko Pops for like $3. They got T-shirts for like $6. A bunch of stuff.
Funko sponsor us.
Yeah, right. They had
us.
They had like, you know, sometimes they have like movie scenes and it's got like the Funko figure in the middle. There you go. I will use that one. But it's the Flash and it's all these little babies around him. And I was like, I need to get that for Kyle. So he put it on his desk.
Great. My son like cried, like legitimately was like, this is so, why are they doing this? Like, which I kind of in the movie same was like, are we really fucking throwing bait? This is what we're doing.
You knew nothing was going to happen. They're babies.
I know. That's exactly how I explained it to my son.
Yeah.
But still, it was like, are we really that's what we have to do. Anyways, let's fucking stop talking about that movie.
Yeah, let's not talk about The Flash because it
Yeah,
sucks.
we're talking about art right now, and like
far
film
from it.
and being museum worthy. I mean, it's interesting that article or conversation was being had by probably two of the, like, in my opinion, top like creators in terms of like movies, in terms of like visual effects.
Yeah.
Just overall, like the like movies feel like everything they do feels epic.
I think I sent you a link to this when they were doing it, but Rotten Tomatoes was doing like a bracket of like the best directors of the 21st century so far. I sent you a link to that, and basically you go in and you could vote. And it was like pairing people up, right? It was like different directors, like, you know, everybody who's made a movie basically in the past 20 years is on this list. Well, the final two were Christopher Nolan and Dennis Villeneuve. So, I mean,
makes sense.
It does. And Nolan won, which I agreed with.
Yeah. I think Nolan has more, I wouldn't say mainstream, but like his movies are a little bit more mainstream. He's made more quality. Dennis I think technically, isn't it Denis Villeneuve?
It might be. I might be.
I mean, like Blade Runner 2049, like that's for whatever reason is like a niche movie, which I guess the original one was too, so that makes sense. But like if you take out the like this is a sci-fi movie that scares away a lot of people and just look at it as like a visual, like just all of their like set piece moments and just visual, it's a beautiful movie. But he has that. Dune, I would say, just like that. Like if you take away super niche, weird Dune, books are amazing, obviously, but like there's not a lot of people that know about that, and that sci-fi can kind of freak people out, or just not. It's not Barbie. People aren't just going to go see it because they owned one when they were little. But that movie is like visually stunning. The sound is amazing. But he's got a couple of them, and I think he's hit 2-3 grand slams, and Christopher Nolan's hit like 7. So yeah, I would say that hierarchy makes sense. I would agree with it. So
yeah, sure. And and I'm one of, like Martin Scorsese's come out and he's like, oh, these Marvel movies are amusement park rides, these superhero movies are amusement park rides. All due respect to Martin Scorsese, because he's made some of the greatest movies of all time. Listen, it's different, right? Like, I'm going to go see all these movies. Yeah. People are going to take their little kids to go see these superhero movies because that's what they like. Some adults are going to go see these superhero movies. It's what they like. It's what they want at the time. It's like when you go to your favorite restaurant, you probably order the same thing every time, right? Maybe you get something different to drink or whatever. It just depends, like maybe I'm going to order a beer tonight. I'm going to have a scotch, the next day. Yeah. Sometimes I want a superhero movie, sometimes I want a sci-fi epic masterpiece. Sometimes I want a biopic. I like watching documentaries. Those are all different. I haven't seen the Barbie movie yet. My wife, we bought it. She watched it with Reagan. I saw probably the first 30 minutes. My first impressions of the Barbie movie, again, I haven't seen the whole thing. Very impressive. The visuals, it's very impressive, and I know where it's going. I think it's a great idea, the concept and everything. Wow, but that's that's can be considered art too. It's all art. Yes. It is what it is.
Martin Scorsese, you have made some of the best movies ever.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, because that was like a very controversial interview or hot take that he had, I immediately thought, like, come on, Grandpa. Like, stop being an old curmudgeon like I am when my wife asked me to go out and be social. It's like, dude, get with the times. He sounds like that granddad who's like, these youths, these young whippersnappers with their cell phones, back in my day, we didn't have tablets. We had outside and the sun going down. Like, that's what Martin Scorsese sounds like when he's doing that. Now, again, maybe this is blasphemous for saying that because he's one of the greatest directors of all time. But
Right.
The Irishman wasn't as good as you thought it was going to be, dude.
Boom.
But
Goodfellas might be one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yes, but I think you said it right in that I like to drink a Coke, but I also enjoy a Dr. Pepper or a Mr. Pibb. And like, the point is, like, there are multiple kinds of movies, and just because it's not a 4-hour, like, introspective, internal, this, we're showing you this, but it really means that, like, movie that he makes with superheroes, like, that doesn't mean it's not a good movie. Or, in this, I guess, would kind of go against the argument of this article of Nolan and Villanueva of, like, just because it's a superhero movie doesn't mean that it's not art or a movie. The Batman superhero movie, fucking loved it. The Watchmen superhero movie, very more that epic side. Even all the Marvel movies.
Nolan's made Batman. He made a Batman trilogy.
He literally
made a Batman trilogy.
Trilogy. That's some great.
And he said, I'm not going to do it again. Oh, fine, you did it. It's great. Kenneth Branagh directed the original Thor.
Yeah,
the guy just won an Oscar for Belfast.
Yeah,
like,
well, and also
Chloe Zhao directed the Eternals. She just made what was the movie Nomadland? She won Oscar. It's so not everybody agrees, clearly, or they wouldn't be making these movies.
Yes. Well, and also thank you, Christopher Nolan, for making a grounded superhero movie that was based in reality, because that gave us a genre that people didn't realize could be a thing. So, anyways, it's a interesting topic. It's an interesting kind of contentious point to look at. I am someone who enjoys movies. I like movies.
Same.
Like all kinds of movies. So, like,
and I'm surprised somebody like Martin Scorsese doesn't.
Yes, that's a great. It's like, it's kind of like when there was, like, last year or last couple of years, there's been like this big thing on, like, old, like, established legend rappers, like, picking on these new ones that are coming up, but like having to there's a couple, I can't, now that I'm talking about it, I feel like an idiot because I can't remember who I was going to specifically talk about, but there's one rapper that's like, no, like, we gotta respect the legends, but also, like, we gotta show some love to these new ones coming up. Like, that's I think personally how I thought someone like Martin Scorsese would be, of like, man, I made different kind of movies than these guys are making, but, like, fuck, they're making a lot more money than I ever did. So, like, more power to them.
I'm with you.
So anyways, we went way off track with our 6 to midnight.
Yeah, it just turned into a big, long discussion about movies as an art form. And it is.
On a movie podcast. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Look at us. So, here we are. Anyway, that takes us into our you need to see this movie. The 1993 classic film, The Program. So let me see, like, a little backstory here on The Program. So The Program came out in 1993. It was directed by David S. Ward, who at the time was most famous for having written and directed the film Major League, which is an all-time classic sports movie as well. Yeah. It's kind of funny. He actually wrote 2 movies in 1993. One was The Program, and the other one was Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
He wrote those 2 movies were written by the same person.
And they came out in the same year. Yeah, 1993. He actually won an Academy Award in the 70s for having written the classic, The Sting. He won an Oscar for it. So then he went on and directed some movies, Major League being the most famous of them, but The Program was one of them. And then after that, he kind of fell off a little bit. So
that is fascinating.
It is fascinating.
The Program is a movie that, like, in my household, at least the one I grew up in, my brothers and I love this movie. Talked about it probably too many times. I played college football, so this movie was really big for me and my brother, who both played high school and college on the same team, at least at the JUCO level before I transferred. And this was a movie we watched all the time. It's such an underrated, awesome football movie.
Yes.
And it's unique in that it's college football. So it's like, it really does an awesome job of capturing that college football life at kind of that higher program level. And a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you don't really know about these teams that's going on, like the inner dynamics between all these players and people, doing steroids because they're not good enough to make the team, but like they need that. And once they take that stuff, then they can make it. It's like, it's such a great movie. There's so many awesome moments in it. It came out in 93.
Yeah.
Watching it again this week, I like it. It holds up, like,
very much,
as crazy as that is.
Especially if you're somebody that grew up in that time frame. Like, I was a teenager in the 90s, right? And so I was big into college football because I was a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan when, I mean, so that was the peak of Nebraska college football. But like, I even worked with people that played for Nebraska, right? Like in the 2000s and stuff, like people that had been in the program and were now, like, out in the business field and stuff. I knew some people that played for Nebraska. They would tell you stories that matched up very much so with things that happened in this movie. And then, like, when you and I were watching this, you're like, I knew that guy. I knew of that. I knew of that guy. I knew of that guy that did that stuff. Like, those things happen. Basic premise of the movie. Early 90s, big time, what is now FBS football. Back then it was, Division I. Eastern State University, which is was most of the college football scenes were filmed in South Carolina in Duke, so they were filmed in the Carolinas. So you kind of get the vibe that that's probably where around in the country that this team took place. They play Big Ten schools, they play ACC schools. So yeah, that does kind of fit that they're over on the obviously Eastern State, but the movie kind of starts off and it's the very last game of a football season and the team loses, the Eastern State team loses, and they miss the bowl. They miss going to a bowl game, which in the 90s, right? Like in prior bowl game, that was it. Like that was hot stuff. That was a hot ticket. Like that's great for your program. You're going, listen, there's a billion bowl games now. There's 5-6 win teams going to bowl games now. It doesn't have the prestige that it did back then, because now there's a playoff too. And everybody's focus is that. Listen, bowl games are still cool. It's still good to go to bowl games. I'll still watch a lot of them on TV, things like that. It just,
as a player, that was, it 100% did. Like, especially, there's so many different levels of college football. And like you said, there's so many different divisions and conferences. And back in that time, they literally, like, they voted the top 2 teams at the end of the season. Like, who is the 2 best teams?
Yeah.
Let's vote. And then we'll make those 2 teams play in a championship.
Unless they were in the Big Ten or Pac-10 back in the day.
Yes.
Then you did. You played in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, so you played in a bowl game to then determine who was essentially, which again, very convoluted and
it super was.
When I was growing up and then playing in college, like that was the stuff we talked about. We didn't talk about like we want to win a national championship. It was like we want to go to a bowl game. Like we got to get to a bowl game. My oldest brother Luke played in a bowl game. We didn't make a bowl game when I was at the JUCO level, which they do have bowl games for that as well. My brother actually won a national championship bowl game.
Awesome.
But then when I transferred to the school that I played at, it was NAIA level, so they do have playoffs and championships. So like the bowl game stuff was out. But growing up, man, it was a big deal. And so when they were talking about that in the movie, talking about like you lost, they immediately were in a press conference, or at least media are in the locker room asking the coach, like, you guys lost a game and missed out on a bowl game. That means you had a failure of a season.
Yep.
Like, what's it like for you next year? Like, it's good vibes. I like the bowl game
and
stuff.
it goes into a lot of detail. Like the movie starts off season, like because it ends, that game ends, and then the movie really gets going. So it starts off with the pressure on the coach, right? They've missed a bowl game 2 years in a row now. Boosters are not happy. The athletic director's not happy. The chancellor at the school is not happy. And it's basically like your job's not in jeopardy right now, but the pressure's on. Like you got to do something next year. And as soon as that scene's over, he's out recruiting. Like he's packing his bags, and the D and offensive coordinators are like, here's who you're meeting. Here's about this kid. Then he's meeting the kid, and he's like, oh, I saw this, something they had just told him about.
They tell him, hey, by the way, this guy had a huge touchdown return, in this game.
Oh, I saw that kick return you did, blah, blah, blah. Blowing smoke, right?
Yeah.
You talked about it too. Like when you did recruiting, right? Like you get these recruits in, these big time recruits. Show the running back they're trying to get, who's played by Omar Epps. They take the superstar quarterback who's played by Craig Sheffer, goes to recruit him with the coach, right? Like he meets him when he gets there to do his first school visit. The whole freaking cheer squad's out there cheering for him. They got Holly Berry out there to shake him and show him around, right? Show him a good time. All that shit happened. Like it all happened, right?
Yes.
So that's how the movie starts, and they recruit him. There's the new season. You meet basically there's the main players are you've got your Heisman hopeful quarterback, right? Joe Kane, played by Craig Sheffer. You've got your
Joe Burrow of 1993.
Right, yeah, but he was 33 years old when he filmed the movie. So
and he looks like the Joker.
He was Chris Winkie. Wasn't Chris Winkie like 27 when he was at Florida State?
Yes.
Omar Epps plays the superstar freshman running back that he doesn't start right away. He doesn't see playing time right away, and then eventually kind of gets into that starting role.
Yeah.
You've got the superstar linebacker who's like a all defensive player of the year candidate, who's
badass.
Home life is terrible. Like grew up in a shack with a single mom and all of his siblings. Like they literally look like they live in a shack.
But he's like the most NFL. Like he is guaranteed like first round draft pick defensive player. So like
that's all his focus is. That's all he get stronger, get faster, take people's heads off, win football games, get drafted.
Like, don't worry, Mom, you're not going to live in this shack anymore. We're going to live in a mansion. So.
One of the first scenes is like, it's Christmas. And he gives her like a door knocker for Christmas. And he says, next year next Christmas, I'm going to buy you a house when I get drafted, Like, and then there's the defensive end, tackle, I think he's an end, Latimer, right? He's the other one you kind of follow around.
Latimer.
Right. He's huge, juiced psychopath, right? And the base,
he is Zangief, right?
He's Zangief. He is also Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes. But so
he's Max Shrek's son in Batman Returns.
See, look at that. He's Butterfinger in Hudson Hawk.
Jesus Christ. He's been in so many movies, I had no fucking idea.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's massive. He's a mountain.
He's
the size of the mountain fella from that one show.
Game of Thrones.
That's where
but anyway, so they kind of follow them around the most. And like obviously there's, Craig Sheffer's got a love interest in Christy Swanson. There's all the pressure of him being a Heisman hopeful. There is in-game stuff too. Like Omar Epps that talks about his struggle with he was an orphan, grew up in an orphanage, like not super smart, kind of a street kid, but his big motivation is he doesn't want to be a statistic. He wants to go to school. He wants to play football. He wants to get an education. He doesn't want to be the bad label, right? That somebody like him could be. And then obviously the linebacker, I don't remember what his name is in the movie, but his motivation is to get drafted and get money and take care of his family, right? And in the movie, you find out he can't even read. People are like reading to him and taking tests for him and stuff like that. Again,
which was very real.
Yes, all this stuff happened.
Yes, this is all stuff that like
Mm.
at this time, like Cromartie is one of the greatest NFL cornerbacks of all time from like the late 90s, mid 2000s, maybe even a little bit more early 2000s, late 2000s. Anyways, Antonio Cromartie, dude, like had freaking 11 interceptions a season, like was a rock star, but then it came out that he like literally as a college graduate didn't know how to read. And these programs are essentially pushing players through, finding ways, and back then it was a lot easier with like loopholes and finding ways to sweep things under the rug, which like happens for multiple things in this movie, and all of them I thought, and I'm not just saying this, but like I didn't have a lot of those things happen in terms of like controversy that a coach was covering up, but I didn't play at like the national championship level. So it's a little bit different when jobs are on the line with multi-million dollars.
And some of the biggest critiques this movie got when it came out is a lot of people said it was too cliche. I don't think it's too cliche because that stuff happened like that.
Yeah.
You're basically following around 4 or 5 players, right? On a roster that a college football roster is 90 some guys, right?
Yeah.
In most cases, 4 guys. You got a guy that's doing steroids. There's a whole bunch of stuff that talks like throughout the movie. Obviously, we've got all these different intersecting stories. They're all about the program.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Latimer that's doing steroids. It goes to a head when he tries to rape a girl in the movie, right? And other players pull him off of her. And basically, yeah, they kind of cover it up, but he's got to get off the juice and he's got to serve a suspension. Like, don't tell me that stuff didn't happen. I know guys that did that kind of stuff at high level college football. There's scenes where they're at after game dinners and boosters are handing out envelopes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we all know that was pre-NIL. We know that stuff happened. How many universities have gotten in trouble for that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
A lot, because they get caught, you know. This stuff happened. Then you've got the guy that can't read. You just gave an example where that kind of stuff happened. Then you've got Craig Sheffer's Heisman hopeful quarterback that's an alcoholic.
Straight up alcoholic.
His whole family's alcoholics.
Yes.
You know, his dad's a dipshit, won't go to his games, doesn't even watch them, drinks all the time. He's an alcoholic, right?
Which is that's his big struggle, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's an alcoholic because he comes from a family of alcoholics and screw ups. And so now he's like, shit, you're tied for being the best player in the country that you're trying to fight for a Heisman. Like now the pressure's on you. The whole program is relying on you. And deep down, he feels like, I know I'm going to fuck up at some point because that's who my family is.
Yep.
And so like, there's that pressure that plays along with it too.
There's even a scene where he like wakes up in the middle of the night because he's got the itch and he pours himself a whiskey and drinks it and he can go back to bed.
Yeah. Literally one of the scenes he fucking, when he has all this pressure on him, he goes, takes his girl out and he gets fucking blasted, almost unalives himself with a train.
Mm-hmm.
He is clearly blitzed. Like, and then it's the night before a game. He goes to the game the next day and balls out.
Yep.
Like, ends up throwing like 3 touchdowns. So, not saying that that's like a cool thing, but like, it's interesting because you don't think that those things are happening, but those things are happening. Like, players are drinking during the week. Like, these are kids. These are 18-year-old to 21-year-old kids who are now on their own, who in these situations, they're on programs where like there are no, like they are held up on a pedestal. Like you are a celebrity in this bubble of a world. And so you can get away with stuff and just, it's an interesting dynamic and this movie captures it perfectly.
I agree. I think it does capture it perfectly. And again, we're talking about mid-90s, early mid-90s, right? Like the things that you can tell when you watch this movie that are a little dated, right? NIL's not a thing, right? So that there's the booster money under the table. It's not just where they're just flat out giving it to them like it is now, where they're making more than some of these pro players. Obviously there's parts where, football rules were different back then. Like college, they didn't have overtime in college at the time, right? Like, so they're like, we have to win. We can't tie. We won't make a bowl game if we tie. There's that.
Yeah. Good point.
Well, what else? Social media, obviously, I think plays a big part too, because obviously we didn't have that. Everybody had phones back then. So there's, he goes to, these players are going to the local campus bar and they're getting served at 18 because who cares,
Yeah.
But don't think that doesn't happen. I mean, I was 18. I used to go to the college that's downtown here. I used to go to the bars down there. They didn't care. I know that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
I don't care. And nobody else cares.
That's right.
Just that's how it was.
I think for me with football movies, there's got to be a ton of football in it, or I want more football in it. It's one thing that I think this movie, I mean, it does a great job because it's all stories on like the players and behind the scenes of the program. It's not really about like individual games, but like when they do, and I said this to you as we were watching, like whoever they got for their like football advisor for the movie, basically saying like the equipment that this wide receiver is wearing is accurate to what a receiver would wear. This is what a quarterback would dress and look like, as opposed to like High School Musical when they put the quarterback in these giant like lineman shoulder pads with no gloves or sweatbands or anything, and a kicker face mask, and he's throwing the football like this and like sidearm under up, like where no one cared if it looked accurate. Like this looked like you were, and I think they filmed at college games with the crowd that they had and the referees. It looked and felt like you were at a big time college football game for each game. And the football part of the movie itself was fucking awesome. Like,
I agree.
I wanted more of it. Give me more games.
I bought the only person I didn't buy in this freaking movie was Craig Sheffer, because like you said, he looks like he's ancient, like he's a super villain in this movie. It's hard to buy him as this 21-year-old quarterback because he's 33. And that was, but like Omar Epps was great. Like everybody else that played players you bought it. I thought James Caan is great as a coach. Like
James Caan is great in this movie as a coach.
I think the whole everything, like it really is a great snapshot of what 90s college football was about.
Yes. The things that you pointed out, like that are really funny, well, not funny, but very true to like recruiting and college football. At the beginning of the movie, they have the whole cheer team and everyone's there for this big time recruit that comes in. And they're like, oh my God, we're so happy you're here. You're going to be a superstar. And then like 2 scenes later, it cuts to him getting off the bus for his first, not day at school, but reporting to camp for fall camp. And it's him getting off the bus and there's not a soul around except like 2 players that are like, all right, let's go. And they're like, and he's kind of very clearly like, oh shit, like I thought this was going to be like every time I get off the bus, I was going to be a superstar. And they're like, no, you're a fucking freshman who needs to carry my fucking helmet.
Yeah.
Like that was such a great scene. Latimer, the steroid guy, obviously it's horrible when we get to that scene at the party where he tries to force himself onto someone. Previous to that, his story is a player that I knew, a guy who never played his whole career. He was a weenie, backup, maybe played some special teams. Latimer is like a senior. He's in his senior year. Everyone's talking about him at the beginning of like, Latimer, you put on 35 pounds of muscles. He looks like the Hulk. He's massive. And at one point it shows they basically are saying like, who are the starters? And he made the starting defense and he fucking loses his mind of like, so he runs out and he's like, I made started team. I got a seat at the table. He kept saying a seat at the table. So as a player, it's like, fuck yeah, you got a seat at the table. But he goes out and he fucking bashes his head through like 4 parked cars' windows because he's so juiced that he became a starter. And Like, I know a player that was that. He
Blood
all of a sudden
pouring down
1
his
year,
face. I mean,
he didn't go bust out
no, but at the same
cars,
time, I
but
mean, it's like, you see that scene, you're like, holy shit, that's nuts.
yes. And the guy that like I went to college with, that when I was a senior, he was like, I think a junior or something, but he had never played. And then all of a sudden he got fucking huge. I don't know what things he was taking, but he got massive and wrecked people in fall camp on kickoffs. And so that turned them into going like, dude, this dude can play. Let's put him in. And he ended up playing for his last 2 years. So like, it just like those are things that they took from real life and put in this, and they got the right guy to do it. He was fucking crazy. The backup quarterback is like a total sleaze ball. Was dating the coach's daughter, who's a student there. She gets caught taking a test for the backup quarterback, which again, back in the 90s, like it's a lot less electronic stuff, so it's a lot easier to cheat on those types of things. And so her and the backup quarterback get expelled, but then our starting quarterback, who's an alcoholic, gets a DUI and gets sent to rehab for 4 games, and they don't have a backup quarterback. So what happens? The coach has to bring back and basically talk the administration into letting the backup quarterback back into school. But he's not doing that for his daughter to get back into school. So it's very much like I don't know. There's all those dynamics. That's like, oh, this is what's so horrible about sports and what we do. But like, it all happens.
It's crazy to watch this movie, because I couldn't tell you the last time I watched this movie before we watched it the other day. But it is crazy to watch this movie today, and like all the stuff that I remember that was like, Latimer bashing his head into the window, trying to rape the girl, them spitting in each other's mouths right before a game, like all that crazy shit. And like, but it's a lot different for me to watch that now, knowing more about what I know and like how shit really was, and it's not as insane to think about that those things happened. I mean, it's weird when you watch that movie too, because obviously Latimer is a horrible human being, but you can't help but root for the guy in the movie. And it's weird. You get that weird feeling like it's like, oh, he's fucking skis ball. But at the end, you almost feel bad for him, because he realizes that he goes back on the steroids, and he has to have them to be good. And I think he comes to that realization at the end that he's letting people down, and he's killing himself, basically. Kind of. And it's really, it's kind of profound in that the linebacker, the superstar, the one everybody's rooting for, that comes from poverty, can't read, basically ends his career with a horrible leg injury.
His leg gets snapped backwards, and they show it, and it's gross.
It's gross, and he gets Nick Chubbed, and basically, like, it's too soon. And basically,
that's a real NFL player who just basically had his leg snapped in half a week ago.
Bad.
He's one of the best running backs in the NFL.
And he's listening to the last game of the season on the radio, and his mom's shack, and it's like he knows he's never going to play again, and now he has to figure out what the hell am I going to do. I would imagine, like he's somebody that would be getting into coaching, because they show a scene where they're like watching assignments on film, right? And he's calling out, like he knows everything, like he knows where he should be, or where everybody should be on the field. So you would like to think that ends well for him in coaching and things like that.
Well, and the thing about that particular scene, that the contrast, like obviously purposefully, is right before that they show him in tutoring, where his tutor is like talking like 2+2 math problems, and he's like, huh? I don't know. Or they ask him like, what two city states were at war in this war, and he's like, I don't know. And then like it clips right to like, Johnson, like, where is your alignment in this? And he's like, flip jack, right stick, linebacker left, like just like fire blitz, smoke, like, and then they keep flipping through these different things, and he's like, kill the quarterback, cover the tight end, kill the tailback. Like he's just covering left and right. So Like, I thought that was kind of a cool
great. It is
showing of
great.
like, but also like, fuck, man, this is the stuff that's being taught of like, what's important to you. Like, is your education important, or you going to the NFL is important, like, and where people's heads are at. And that's real. It's very real. So
yeah, no, it's good. Listen, hey, it's a great movie. It's a great football movie. I think it tells a great story about all this stuff. Basically, at the end, they get to a bowl game. That's how the movie ends. They make it, they win enough games, they get to a bowl game. Overall, most everybody's happy. And then the movie ends just like it began. Coach is going out on the recruiting trail, because anybody who knows anything about college football, as soon as the regular season's over, that coach is recruiting between the time the bowl game happens, right? Like, I mean, he's recruiting in December. And
even during the season, really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's such a real thing of like, it never ends. You're always recruiting, and they do a good job of portraying that in the movie.
They do. And they talk about Joe Kane's got another full year. The next year is his senior year, right? Like, he has another chance to win the Heisman. And you don't know if they win the bowl game. You don't obviously know what happens. It's a fictional story, but at the same time, it's like you almost kind of wished there was a follow-up. But
yes,
you do, just to, like,
bring back Joe Kane in 2023.
That dude's like 75.
Yeah,
everybody else is in their 50s, and he's like 70.
He's playing a 22-year-old kid quarterback when he's older than I am right now. He's playing this college kid. So,
and and it's wild because his career never did much after. Omar Epps was in a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
But Craig Sheffer, though, like, he did like A River Runs Through It. He was like Brad Pitt's brother. He's like the main character in that movie, and then nothing. And he's doing like Turbulence,
like Halle Berry's early thing, or
it was like one of her first movies. Obviously, she's a supporting character in this movie. Christy Swanson plays Joe Kane's girlfriend. She obviously did more stuff after that. The Chase, Big Daddy, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Holly Berry, we all know who Holly Berry is, right? She's done a million movies. She's won an Oscar.
James Caan,
this was, James Caan did a bunch of stuff before this, Godfather and all that. Like, this is probably around the time Misery came out, close to that.
That's a great point.
He did a bunch of stuff in the 90s too, but, R.I.P. James Caan. But like, your main character, Craig Sheffer, like, his career never did much after that. So you almost kind of wonder if that role would have been different, if maybe the movie would have been different. I don't know. It's hard to say. Listen, we talked about this movie more than we talk about a lot of movies. I think it's great. I think it's a great football movie. I think it's done really well. It's an 8.5 for me.
Yes, it's a 9 for me in terms of just like, I fucking love this movie.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm with you. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I think for the time that it came out, it was a good movie, like good quality, put together a great movie, and it holds up. I fucking love it.
I think it holds up too. Listen, like, the reviews are all over the place. It was very mixed bag when it came out. It didn't make a ton of, it made its money back at the box office kind of deal. Obviously it wasn't high budget by the actors that are in it, but I think there's something missing. People are missing something, because I think this is a lot better movie than people remember it. Maybe it was too adult. Maybe it was like, people really were like, oh, this is bullshit. They're telling this like extravagant story about all this corruption in college football and stuff like that. Part of me thinks that might have had something to do with why it didn't do well, because there's all this shit was happening and they didn't want people talking about it.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
believe that.
I don't think NCAA, college, or like any of the schools and programs liked this movie. They didn't like it because it was literally showing exactly what they were doing that was not okay.
Right. But we all knew it was happening.
Yes.
So,
and it's a fucking awesome movie. We've talked a lot about the dynamics and all the crazy shit that happened, but like, the football is fucking awesome. I said this to you of like, this should be required watching before any football season starts, because it just gets you hyped for football, makes you want to go watch your team play.
I would be totally down to see like a sequel to this. Not even a sequel, but more like a reboot. That is more
like a follow-up to the program.
Well, you could have like Joe Kane being the head coach at a university or something. But but wouldn't it be cool to see like the same kind of movie, but talking about NIL, the transfer portal, like all that, like that would be wild to see like a modern day version of the program. I'd be down for that for sure.
Dude,
Dion
that
can
is
be the
a
coach.
fucking
Yeah.
you just wrote the next summer blockbuster.
That's it right there.
What a freaking great idea.
But anyway,
It's
yeah,
a 9. It's a 9.
It's a 9.
If you haven't seen this movie or
And
you haven't seen it in
it's
a long
on Prime.
time, it's
The
free
program.
to watch.
The program.
Go watch this movie.
Make sure on Prime you type in the program movie. Otherwise, you just get a bunch of TV shows. Yeah,
I think you have to put football in there. Like it will literally not pull up.
So. Just pulls up programs, like your grandma's typing in the search bar. Anyway, that is the 1993 film, The Program, and that takes us into my favorite segment. There can be only 5.
Only 5.
So this week we're going on brand again a little bit. So
for all my non-sports ball friends that listen to this episode, I think they're going to love our argument or convo about art and movies, and then it's going to fall off.
That's fine.
Because sports ball is not their thing, but that's okay.
Yay, sports.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
These are great movies.
It's great. Your turn to go first.
Okay. Going first. Mine I think technically both of these were one was yours from today and one was yours from last day. I'm going to do the movies. You're going to do the other one.
Okay, right? Do it. Go.
Is that okay? Okay, so we're jumping into, we just talked about a football movie. We're going to do top 5 greatest football movies of all time. Now, and there's actually, when I first was like, oh, well, there's literally only like 5 or 6 to go on this list. But then I was like, oh shit, actually there's a ton of movies out there that that this could make up this list. So I do have.
We're gonna have 4.
I think that
different order, but we're gonna have 4.
I do think that we will let's be real. Like the top tier compared to all the rest is very separate, but there are a ton of movies. I do have 2 honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is fuck off. My first honorable mention is it was painful not to have this on my list. Painful. Varsity Blues. One of the greatest football movies ever. It's about high school football. It's Texas football. It's crazy. You're my boy Blue. I give it a 9.5. 10. I give it a 10. Varsity Blues. Only reason why I didn't make my list, there's not enough football in it. Not enough games. Give me more. And then the second one, as my honorable mention, was the newer reboot of The Longest Yard. I liked that movie. So I liked it enough for it to be an honorable mention. All right, we're jumping in my 5 or 6 because I got a tie. My tied for number 5 because I couldn't have one of these movies on this list and not the other. So at number 5, I have a tie between The Waterboy and The Replacements.
Okay.
Shane Falco, freaking John Wick, Keanu Reeves, Neo, QB, fucking amazing. It's about a movie, or it's about basically the NFL back in the 90s or 80s. This really happened. There was a strike. They brought in basically non-professional athletes. They called them scabs in real life to come and play.
Loosely based on a true story.
Yes, from there was multiple teams, but
yeah, it was 1994 Redskins. Yeah, it was because the Redskins were the team that didn't cross the line, and they still played with the scabs, and they had to play the real players.
Yes. So so it was a strike. The movie does a great job. Gene Hackman is the coach. Keanu Reeves is the quarterback. It's fucking awesome. It's super hilarious. There's a ton of great characters in it. Great movie. And then obviously The Waterboy I said was tied. Adam Sandler. It's a really goofy football movie.
Yeah.
But like it was influential to me as a kid. Like I was running around and freaking destroying the couch cushions going and crushing freaking couch cushions like I was a water boy because he hits like a linebacker.
Something wrong with that boy's medulla oblongata.
Medulla oblongata.
It's a power bomb compliments of Captain Insano.
Captain Insano. Captain Insano showed no mercy.
That movie's problematic.
Yeah, it's horrible. But one of the funniest scenes from that movie that my friend Sean and I die laughing at is freaking one with the teacher, Colonel Sanders, is walking in, and for some reason outside, like someone throws a rock, and he's just walking into class, and this fucking rock comes through and hits him, and he goes, like falls over, and it's I don't know why, but it's like one of the fucking funniest things ever. Okay, number 4, I have The Program. One of the greatest football movies ever. We just talked ad nauseum about it. It's on my top 5 list for sure. Number 4. Number 3. I feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but that's because you are a casual sheep. This is not any higher than number 3. Remember the Titans. One of the greatest football movies ever. It is super inspirational. I love this movie. I get very hyped about it's emotional. I get hyped about football. It's about not just about football. It's about crossing racial lines and bringing people together. It's an awesome football movie. But like when we're talking nitty gritty real football, like there are 2 movies above this that are perfect. And this was hard not to have either of these at 1 and having to have a 2 and a number 1. But number 2, greatest football movie of all time, Friday Night Lights. It's based on a book. It's high school football in Texas. It's about Permian Panthers. It's this epic season. They're supposed to be, Boobie Miles. They have the best player in the country. He's this freaking amazing running back that's going to go. He's going to be a first-round draft pick NFL player. They've got a senior quarterback who's doing well enough that this team is like, it's like they're the team of destiny in Texas football. They're supposed to go and win it. They're finally going to win a state championship, which is it's like winning a Super Bowl in Texas. And it just does an awesome job of capturing big time high school football, the pressure that these kids go through while they're trying to do that. And like the level of celebrity that those players are at, but also like there's adults, like parents that are in there that they won a state championship when they were young. So like, you got to go get yourself a ring like this, boy. Like, so there's a lot of like, it's the most important thing in the world to these players, but there's a lot of stuff pointing out that like, is this stuff really the most important? But the football is fucking awesome. It is such a good movie. It's really emotional, and they don't win at the end. Spoiler, which is one of the biggest things that makes the movie good. Like that it is realistic and that they get literally to the goal line and just can't score and they lose. They don't win the state championship. And it's just fucking awesome. Great movie. Number 1, my number 1 football movie. For whatever reason, I fucking love this movie. It probably could or should have some more football in it, but goddamn, if this movie pops on, I'm going to watch it. I don't care if it's 5 minutes left, if it just started. Any Given Sunday, to me, is the greatest football movie ever. Primarily because it, kind of like The Program, does an awesome job of capturing NFL football and like the dynamics of NFL and players and egos and divas and trying to, being backups to becoming superstars. And it's just a freaking awesome football movie. I originally had Friday Night Lights at number 1 and I switched these back, I think 2 or 3 times. So, and a lot of people would argue that Remember the Titans could be number 1 with this, but for whatever reason, this was just how I layered it based on which movie I would prefer to watch or how many times I've watched it. Friday Night Lights, it's just so serious that sometimes I'm not in a mindset to be in that serious. But like Any Given Sunday, I could throw on at any minute and freaking steaming Willie Beeman, Jamie Foxx, freaking the movie version of Michael Vick is a fucking badass. LL Cool J is a freaking starting running back in Any Given Sunday. It's awesome. It's like basically about they're the Miami Sharks, but it's basically like when Brett Favre is at the end of his career and they're trying to win a Super Bowl with him, but this young and up and coming Michael Vick is going to come take his place. And like the dining, Al Pacino is the head coach. He is amazing. He gives an incredible movie speech. It's one of the greatest movie speeches of all time. At the halftime locker room of the game that determines them making the playoffs or not. But man, it's a freaking awesome movie. Turns out, interesting story. LL Cool J and Jimmy Fox actually did get in a real fight. There's a scene in the movie where the running back and the quarterback are at odds. Running back is this veteran who's like, "Give me the ball. I'm the vet," and he's like, "I'm the new hotness. I'm going to do what I want." And they like scuffle in the movie, but in real life, LL Cool J knocked out Jamie Foxx unconscious. And it's like a very interesting story if you're ever on YouTube want to find a cool story. But anyways, Any Given Sunday, my number one, just above my number two of Friday Night Lights. What you got? Bring it on.
So yeah, we had 4. I was right.
You're right.
You didn't have the one that I have that you don't. I was
the one you thought I would have.
No, I was surprised about it. And then the one that I don't have that you did, I know you'll be shocked and probably pissed at me for. So anyway, I had a tie at number 5, just like you did. Because I was going to do one of these as an honorable mention, but I couldn't leave one of them off. So I did the same thing. I did a tie. So at number 5, I had The Replacements. Because I love that movie. I find it highly entertaining. I think it's great. Right. Some characters are awesome in that movie. And then tied at number 5, I had North Dallas 40. If you've ever seen North Dallas 40, it's a 1979 movie that's loosely based on the 1973 Dallas Cowboys. It's actually based on a book that was written about the 1973 Cowboys. The teams changed. They're like the North Dallas Buffs or something. It's an awesome movie.
Is that Roger Staubach version of Cowboys?
Yeah, kind of, but it's Nick Nolte I think Nick Nolte's the main character in the movie. And it really kind of captures that like working blue collar kind of football from the 70s where they weren't like all these like hyper millionaires, it wasn't the same thing as it is now. It's a really cool movie. It's got a great story. It's awesome.
Dope.
If you've never
seen it,
North Dallas 40, it's worth a watch. It was one of those movies that was like on one time, and I was like, I've never seen this. I'll watch it, and and then I'm like, well, this is fucking awesome, and it's it's a cool movie. So
the blue collar time frame, like literally Roger Staubach, who is one of the greatest NFL players, at least overall, is well known. He literally got drafted and went to war for 3 years and then came back and was the starter again.
Right.
Like that's about as blue collar working man as it gets.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's a cool movie. Anyway.
Love that.
Number 4, little low on my list. You had it low too, which I thought was surprising. I knew it would probably be on both of our lists. Number 4, I have Remember the Titans. I think that's a movie that a lot of people are going to have at number 1 on their football movie list because it is a very good movie. It's just not my favorite. And I think it's a little more overrated than some movies. That's just my opinion on it. It's not a bad movie by any means. I think it's a really good movie. And I think it's really well done. So I have that at number 4.
Yes.
Number 3, I have Friday Night Lights, which I think is a fantastic football movie for all the reasons that you said. I won't go into anymore. I also like the TV show, at least for the first couple seasons. Then it went a little off the rails after that, but it was pretty good.
If you are obsessed with Michael B. Jordan, like most women, go watch season 4 of Friday Night Lights because he is the main player for the coach's new team. Anyways.
Yeah. So this is the one that I was surprised you didn't have on your list. And I guess it's because there's not a lot of football in this movie. But at number 2, I have Rudy.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot Rudy. Oh, one of the greatest movies of all time. Wow.
So
my
Rudy,
parents would be ashamed of me.
I'm surprised it wasn't on your list. Well, now I know why.
My brother,
You forgot.
I bet you, when my brother's watching this episode, after I say my list, before you get into yours, he will text me and say, I can't believe you fucking left Rudy off of there. I've got a tie at number 3. Rudy's there.
So obviously Rudy is a movie about Sean Astin is Rudy Rudiger, which is loosely based on a true story. Rudy came from a very humble background and was going to be the first member of his family to graduate college, and his goal was to play for the University of Notre Dame. It's one of the most like just joyful, like you want to get out of your seat and clap kind of movies. Yes. And it is an all-time classic. We've talked about Sean Astin as like, when we were talking about people that are perfect for their characters, Sean Astin's great as Samwise Gamgee. Sean Astin's Rudy,
Yes,
maybe more than anything he's ever done. He's Rudy. And you root for him so much in this movie.
Yes.
Like everybody doubts him. His girlfriend like starts banging his brother. Like he's the little guy, but he plays with the most heart. And there's, it's just an awesome movie. Like it's one of those, like it's a once a year movie story. For sure. Yeah, it is for sure.
Yes.
And is it very embellished for cinematic purposes? 100%. But the movie is great. Like it's a great movie.
Well, Joe Montana had to go out of his way to freaking throw shade at him. He was like, it wasn't that big of a deal, guys. I freaking love Rudy. It is such a, like, it is, like you said, at the very end when he gets the sack on like the last play of the game, he, like you said, his family is kind of like how every family is here about the Huskers. His family's a diehard Notre Dame fan. He tells people he's going to go play for Notre Dame, and they're like, you're a fucking idiot. You're not going to do that. And he goes, and he's on this methodical, super long journey that you never think he's going to have a chance to it. And he keeps getting knocked down, and he keeps getting up. And at the end, he freaking gets in. There's a powerful scene in that where he didn't make the roster. Once he gets to the point where he's actually on the practice squad for Notre Dame, he never makes the roster, the game day roster. And it comes to the last game of his senior year. He doesn't make the roster again. And like the star captain comes in and he goes, Coach, I'm putting my jersey down for this game. I want Rudy to take my spot. And then he walks out and fucking essentially the whole team does the same thing. And it's a super powerful moment. So Rudy gets to go. It's a huge moment when he gets in, when he's going in the stadium, part of game day. He's just happy to be there. He doesn't think he's going to play. He's on the sideline. 4 minutes, come back. The whole freaking crowd starts cheering Rudy. And they get him in there. And he gets lined up, and you're like, holy shit, Rudy is in the fucking game right now. This is crazy. He's going to die, but this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then somehow that little freaking engine that could gets a sack. And you, like you said, you want to stand up and fucking cheer.
And
it's
they
one of the best.
Carry him off the field.
And they fucking carry him off the field. They have the most epic orchestra music that's been playing the whole movie and slowly like building the whole movie. And then finally when he gets the sack, it's literally like, it's like the clouds opened and God smiled upon us. And that movie was influential to my family. My father did a lot of motivational speaking, spoke across the country. This movie was big for us. My dad got Rudy, the real one, to come and meet my Pop Warner football team.
That's cool.
So we did all this stuff building up to, watch the movie, prep for this thing, we're going to meet the real Rudy. And in walks this tiny old man that looked nothing like Sean Astin. And as a 9-year-old kid, it was probably one of the most disappointing moments of my life. But it's only because I thought it was going to be Sean Astin Rudy. So I was like, this isn't the Rudy I know.
That's not him.
Now that I'm older, obviously, it was one of the coolest things ever. So thanks, Pops. Appreciate that moment. But man, Great movie. It is a travesty that I didn't have it on my list, and I appreciate that you talked about it.
So Rudy's at number 2, and then at number 1, I had this at number 1 going into this week. And
you get so annoyed when I go on my fucking
you're
tangents.
good. You're
You
good.
just go, okay, cool. Anyways, you do
Moving
it all
on.
the time. You do it all the time, but that's okay. That's what we're here for.
Number 1, I have The Program.
Oh,
number 1.
Look at you.
Solidified it this week. I love that movie. I think it's the greatest football movie. There's so many things that movie gets right. And I watch that anytime. I watch it all the time. Love that movie.
And after watching it, you were like, fuck, this movie is so good.
I was like in my head, I'm like, I can't remember the last time I see this, but like I'm making this list and I'm like, I want The Program at number 1. I want this I want The Program at number 1. I really think it's the greatest football movie ever. And then we watched it again. And like I said, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it. And I watched it again and I'm like, I was right. 100%. Fucking movie rocks. I did not have Any Given Sunday on my list. It's a good movie. It's just didn't make my list.
Yeah. Makes sense.
There we go.
I did have one movie that it's going to be too bright. You can't read it, but
Little Giants. The movie fucking rocks.
Little Giants. I can't believe I didn't have it as my honorable mention. Get rid of fucking old Longest Yard. Fuck you, Adam Sandler. You didn't get on here twice. Honorable mention, Little Giants. That's Spike and the Cowboys and Lunchbox. Classic movie. Anyways, let's jump into the next one.
All right, next
this is going to be 100-hour long episode.
Yeah, we're doing okay. We just got to get through it. Anyway, so we kind of little on brand. So we did the top 5 professional athletes turned into movie stars. Movie stars. So obviously, I made my list, and I'm like, So I had to leave some people out, like Burt Reynolds was a big college football player, but I didn't put Burt Reynolds on this list, right? We even talked about people like Kurt Russell played minor league baseball. Okay, I didn't put Kurt Russell on my list. Okay, I saw, and obviously the way we do the research on some of these is like we think of people and we write them down, and then we look at other lists and we're like compare and we see who some of them have, and because in case you forgot somebody and things like that. There were a lot of lists that had bodybuilders on there. I did not put Arnold Schwarzenegger on my list. I didn't think that was fair, but there were people who had Olympic athletes and things like that. Anyway, my top 5 pro athletes turned movie stars. Hey, you do what your list is your list. My list is my list. I was even asking Kyle, I'm like, are we going to do professional wrestlers? Because it changes your entire list.
It changed my whole list.
Yeah, it changes your entire list. So we said yes, we were going to do WWE wrestlers were okay to put on this list. So number 5, John Cena at number 5. Listen, John Cena is the Marine, the original Marine. John Cena, Peacemaker, he is fucking hilarious as Peacemaker. Hilarious.
He is so funny.
He's on this list because I think he's funny. I give a shit about his action movies. I think his delivery is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is hilarious in what's that movie with Will Ferrell where it's like he's like the stepdad or something?
Oh,
fuck. Or like Mark, or is it Will Ferrell or is it Mark Wahlberg? I don't remember.
But I'm thinking, have you ever seen Trainwreck with Amy Schumer? Have you ever seen that movie? Okay, it's that scene where he's in the movie theater and like the dude's telling him to shut her up, and he's like talking about he's gonna like beat the guy off and stuff. That scene's hilarious.
Yes,
I don't give a shit about the rest of the movie. That scene's funny.
He is so fucking funny. Yes. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, I had Jim Brown, who's also one of the greatest football players of all time. Jim Brown did some TV shows and stuff too, but he was in The Dirty Dozen. He's badass. Jim Brown was a badass. Obviously, Jim Brown's very famous. He was a Cleveland Browns running back, one of the greatest running backs of all time. Retired young and had a secondary career. And I was thinking about the first time I ever saw Jim Brown in a movie was in Mars Attacks. and
Bro,
he
yes.
cracks my ass up in that movie.
Yes.
Jim Brown's a
Fuck, I
badass.
forgot
I
about
put Jim
that.
Brown at number 4.
I fucking love that.
Number 3, I had Terry Crews. Terry Crews is a giant of a man who's also
cheeseburger Eddie.
That's right. He's also hilarious.
Fucking
and
hilarious.
he's in like Expendable movies. He's in White Chicks. Obviously, like his probably most famous role is on TV on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But he's even, he even has smaller roles in movies. He's the president in Idiocracy. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
He's what's his name? Like,
I don't remember his name in that, but hilarious. For me, the most famous, like that I've other than Cheeseburger Eddie is White Chicks. That's what I think.
Said, White Chicks.
The most is White Chicks.
So but
and I miss you. Like he's fucking
and he's looking
funny.
At her. Oh yeah, that's great. So, what the hell's the name of the freaking president in that damn movie though? It cracks me up.
No fucking clue.
I don't remember. Anyway, Terry Crews at number 3. Number 2, I had Carl Weathers at number 2. Carl Weathers played professional football for the Oakland Raiders. So
fascinating.
He counts. Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed
What's your favorite movie of his?
Rocky 4.
Yeah,
I like that one the best
movie
because by Rocky 4 they're friends, and Rocky's like, he doesn't want him to go fight freaking Ivan Drago, and he's like, I'm gonna do it, and he dies, and that one. Predator, Dylan, you son of a bitch,
you son of a bitch.
But anyway, I had him at number 2, and
solid.
God, I went like chalk, and I had to put The Rock at number 1.
I knew that was going to happen.
I did. I mean, I was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, man, the rundown and Walking Tall, and like, fuck, even Jumanji. Like, he cracks me up when he's like the teenage boy in Jumanji, and and he's like all crybaby and stuff. Like, listen, I know why he's a huge movie star. I get it. He's very appealing. Like, he is funny. He's obviously a badass. I mean, I've seen probably every one of his freaking movies. I feel dirty putting him at number 1. But I feel like I had to. I don't know. I just feel like I had to. I don't know. It's tough. That's a tough list.
Trapping for The Rock.
The list was tougher than I wanted it to be. I could have had like 7 honorable mentions. I really could have.
Yeah, there's so many.
I could have
most of mine
a bunch.
Mine are all WWE people, but that's because they all ended up. That's the most movies and at least more modern, with the exception of 2.
I'm sorry I didn't put Terry Hulk Hogan on my list.
Fucking my number 5. My number fucking 5. You can't read it. Damn it! This thing's not gonna work.
It's too bright. It's your light. It's too bright. Get out of here.
Hulk Hogan, I had as my number 5, and. Listen, I know freaking Suburban Commando is not the best movie ever.
Dude, I don't even care about Suburban Commando. No Holds Barred, man. That was my movie.
I was just going to say, No Holds Barred, when he picks that guy up and he's like, what's that smell? And the guy's like, Dookie. He goes, Dookie? It's like the worst movie line of all time. Nobody knows what I'm talking about because no one's seen that wrestling movie.
Zeus.
But listen, when I was growing up, like any movie with Hulk Hogan in it was like, I wanted to watch it. Like he was in Hulkamania season. Like we wanted to see him. And we loved the movie Three Ninjas in my house. 3 brothers. We were always fighting. And he was in like Three Ninjas 3 or 2 or something.
Yeah. One of them.
And that was like a huge thing for me. I fucking loved him in everything. Like Mr. Nanny or whatever, like he's a horrible actor.
Yes.
But as a kid, I freaking like, and obviously he's a horrible human based on like things that we've found out as life has gone on. But that time frame, Hulk Hogan, and as a wrestler and a movie star, like he was fucking awesome, and I loved him as a kid. So nostalgia goggles through and through is why he's on my list. Tied for number 3. I'm jumping from 5 to tied at 3 because they're both there for 4 instead of 4 and 3. They're 2 3s. I've got, you can't see him, John Cena.
Yeah.
And if you smell what The Rock is cooking,
right?
The Rock. John Cena and The Rock, they're both, I mean, I think a lot of people would say The Rock has been in way more movies and more successful movies and has made probably way more money than John Cena. But like, it was, they to me are equal in terms of like movie stardom. Like they could be in anything and be amazing. The Rock, I think we've finally, please don't beat me up, Mr. Dwayne Johnson, but I feel like we're getting some like Rock fatigue. Like when we got to Black Adam, it was kind of like, man, when they announced this movie 7 years ago, like I would have really liked it, but now that it's finally out, I'm just kind of like, okay, so
this don't disagree with that. And I don't even know if that was as much Rock fatigue as that was DC fatigue either. But
yeah. Well, and also he in that movie, like he's been bald Rock for a number of years now.
Yeah.
That movie felt like it was called Black Adam, but it was literally like superhero The Rock. Like it was just him being him. And a lot of his more recent movies, he was kind of the same character. So
I feel like The Rock is very much like 80s Arnold at this point in his career, because it's like you're kind of the same person in every movie, you know, like we're going to change little things about you, but
yeah,
I
like
get
that
what you're saying.
San Andreas movie and Rampage, like to me those are like the same movies.
Skyscraper.
All 3 of those movies are literally the same. So
they're just disaster movies where The Rock saves the day.
But when he came out in The Scorpion King, not the original movie Scorpion King, but The Mummy Returns, was it The Mummy Returns? The Scorpion
Mummy Returns
King?
is the one where he's like basically just a CGI scorpion.
Yes, but like he's in it in the beginning, and that was a huge deal when he first came over, and then he got his own movie, and then The Rundown was like super underrated movie. It's really good.
And he did like Walking Tall was right after that.
Well, and I was going to say Walking Tall is, I think, probably my favorite movie of his. Because it's just a really good movie. It's a remake. But he does an awesome job. Like that was where I thought his kind of wings spread. So anyways, The Rock and John Cena are tied for number 3. And in terms of those levels of who those two are, and then this guy, I think people are going to be like, that doesn't make sense. But to me, number 2, I've got Dave Bautista. Like he hasn't been in a ton of movies, but I feel like he is the most well suited for being an actor and playing a role. It just literally just in his role as Drax the Destroyer, like his comedic timing as Drax and his like understanding his character's personality and dry humor or like seriousness that is going to be funny to us because he's being serious in a weird moment. It's so funny. He's so funny.
It was hard for me to keep him off the list, but I just feel like I want to see Batista in more stuff.
Yeah, he hasn't been in enough.
He hasn't in any. I mean, like he's in all the Guardians movies and he's in the Avengers movies, and so he's played Drax a lot, and like Army of the Dead. But it all is
one character.
Yeah, right? Army of the Dead. I saw Knock at the Cabin Door. I thought he was good in that. His best role is Blade Runner.
I was gonna say Blade Runner is like he's only in it for a scene, and then there's also like it's not in the movie, but there's like a mini film. There's like mini movies that are supposed to be like story builders for that movie, and his character is one of those small movies that gives you more backstory of who he is and how he got to where he was. But like he just did such a good job with, like, his character felt super deep. Like, like he did a great job with that character of, without many words, conveying who he is, and just was awesome. I fucking loved it.
Yep.
He's in another, like, it's not a buddy cop movie, but it's like a buddy adult kid movie where he's like
I've seen that.
spy, and then there's like a girl that's his like partner in crime.
Did you ever see that one where it's like the Uber movie where oh shit.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? I never saw that one. I never saw that one. It looked funny.
I didn't see that, but as we're talking about it, like, he's in The Glass Onion, and he is super funny in The Glass Onion, like Drax the Destroyer level of funny. Like, and you mentioned
now I feel bad leaving him off my list. I feel bad leaving Batista off my list.
Well, I mean, but the thing is with him is he hasn't been in a lot of movies, or he's been in a lot that you don't really realize. Army of the Dead one was like fucking super cool. So like, he's a really good actor, and because he's not as over the top, he wasn't like the wrestler level of Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and John Cena. So people, I don't think, give him that flowers. Actor wise, he's freaking awesome. He's
he might be out of the three of them. He might be the better of the three.
As an actor, yes, that's why I had him listed as my number 2 over those two. And then my number 1, Mr. freaking Get Down. Remember when I told you I'd kill you last?
I lied.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I mean, like, is there ever a more like picture perfect professional athlete turned movie star than Arnold Schwarzenegger? He was Mr. Olympia. No. He was greatest. He was the top bodybuilder, which is a sport, in the world. Mr. Olympia. It's like impossible to become that. And he was multiple time Mr. Olympia.
Yep.
Any other Mr. Olympia in the world is defined by that win for their entire life. And he became such a big actor in so many movies at so many levels. Fun, like, think of him, kind of like how we were talking about John Cena. Like, he is hilarious in funny movies. Twins. He's obviously in classic action movies, Predator, Conan, Eraser, Terminator, like all these movies where he's serious actor, but then there's movies where he's hilarious. And then now in his later age, he's in a lot of movies where he is like, they're more serious. Like, old guy Arnold is fucking awesome. I forget the name of, there's like an Amazon Prime movie where he's a super old guy and he's trying to like keep his daughter alive. It's kind of in the apocalypse or the end times, or also think about that movie from like the 90s where he's like trying to prevent the apocalypse from the devil, and he's
End
like
of Days.
Like, there's so many. Kindergarten Cop, like the amount of movies that Arnold Schwarzenegger has been in. Yeah. He's just he's fucking awesome.
Here's the deal. Like, yes, he's awesome. And yes, he would be number 1 on my list if I included him. And I should have, right? But like,
okay, so if I'm glad you didn't, because it gave us more to talk.
I know, but if I'm including bodybuilders, right? Mr. Universe, Sean Connery. Sean Connery.
Sean Connery was Mr. Universe?
He placed 3rd in 1953.
Get the fuck out of here.
He was a bodybuilder before he became an actor.
Okay.
See, so that's where I was
shifted off. John Cena and The Rock have shifted up. Even Dave Bautista shifted up.
I know. Sean Connery would be number 1. I agree. That's where it was like, that's why this list was so hard, because I almost wanted to say like, I almost wanted to say like they have to play basketball or baseball or football, and that's it.
Yes.
Like, that's it.
Let's play a sport with a ball in it.
Well, I almost, we got to play one of the big four, even though I don't think there's hockey players that are Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is it's like, man, when you talk about
Casey
professional
Jones.
athletes, you're talking about wrestlers and we're talking about bodybuilders. Then we're talking about all these people that played like college football, like Burt Reynolds and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Man, it's a wide category. And that's why when I saw all these articles that talked about Arnold, and because he was a bodybuilder, and I was like, man, Sean Connery was a professional bodybuilder in the 50s. Like, I know he was. And so how do you include Arnold if you can't include him?
But was Sean Connery like a world-known superstar as in his Mr. Universe days? Because like Arnold was, and I mean, I guess there's really, we're comparing apples to oranges here,
right.
but
we are, because but that's where you got to, where do you draw the line?
Yes. But like Arnold was already like an international fucking superstar
but he became an international superstar because of the documentary about him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Pumping Iron. And then it was like, and then he's like, oh, everybody knows who I am now. I'm going to try to act. And he was Hercules in New York. And they dubbed his movie. They dubbed his voice. Did you ever see that movie?
You know what movie we never got that I really wish we would have got?
The King Conan one?
Dude, yes. I want old guy King for years. Conan.
Yeah,
I would
do too.
fucking
right
love
now.
that movie. But no, that's not what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie The Last Action Hero, which is a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, he is the star in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
There is a fake movie that he plays. Is it Hamlet?
Yeah.
Does he play?
Yep.
He plays
it's
like
Hamlet.
Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator version of Hamlet.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, I'm like, give me that movie. I want to fucking
got the skull in his hand and he's smoking a stogie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking, for whatever reason, I always thought like that would be actually a fucking movie I want to see. Make that movie. So
hey, and just because it was bothering me, I had it. Hold on. God damn. Keep talking. I have it. Here we go. All right.
What are we talking about?
I'm talking about President Dwayne Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert Camacho.
Oh, Terry Crews. Yeah. I remember the Mountain Dew part.
What was
as soon as you say that, I forgot all about it.
Mountain Dew Camacho.
Oh man, that is what an interesting and fun episode. These are movies that like you wouldn't typically talk about, but as we talk about them, I'm like, these are like awesome movies, like movies that I love.
There are great freaking football movies.
Yeah,
there are great baseball movies too.
There are.
That's for another time.
I was going to say, I'm not going to say any of mine because maybe at one point we'll do that as a
we should episode, for sure. But listen, that takes us to the end of the episode. Movie Dads Podcast, episode number 22. The Program, the greatest football movie of all time.
The greatest college football movie of all time.
It's not better than Rudy, is it?
Didn't you just say that it was?
I said it was. I was asking you. Oh, you didn't have a Rudy on your list. I forgot.
I think they're all equal.
It's all the same.
This is how we decide of football. There are good football movies and there are bad football movies.
This is
those
fair.
are all on the same side. So.
That's fair. That's good. I like that.
Good side. So
anyway, it takes us to the end of the episode. If you're watching us on YouTube, please give us that like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. What's your favorite football movie? We'd love to hear it. If you're not watching us on YouTube, hopefully you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Podcast Index. Hop over to YouTube and leave us a comment. Tell us what your favorite football movie is. Like and subscribe. Catch some of our short videos on social media. Follow us. Give us a like. At Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're back next week. Shocking me. We're back next week. Episode number 23. Big premiere movie of the week. I'm pretty hyped, especially seeing the early screening reviews.
Let's go.
The Creator.
Cannot wait.
Sci-fi masterpiece is what we're hearing. We'll be here to tell you, will it get a golden 11? I don't know. We'll see. Probably not.
Let's go.
I don't even give out 10s. Nah. Anyway,
true.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye.